All right, I know it's been a hot minute, but we are finally back to kick some tail. Listen, it's Did I Roll a Wild? Your Marvel Crisis Protocol vlog, and sometimes some Shatterpoint stuff too. But I'm very excited to be back. I am joined by one of my favorite people that I've met through MCP and just met in general, Mr. Ben Lalka, RevRightMad himself, who has just finished walking back from Nashcon, which is why we wanted to do this on Thursday because it's been a hot minute for him to get all the way back here. Tonight we're going to be discussing a whole bunch of things, including Nashcon and Ben's experience at Nashcon and Ben and Alyssa's experience at Nashcon. We're going to be talking about some of the new Core Box characters, including the new Ultron, as well as Baron Zemo. We're also going to be discussing, just catching up in general. It's been a while since I gotten to talk to Ben, and I'm very excited for it. But as always, we are sponsored by Frontline Gaming. If you were interested in picking up some mats, some terrain, some minis, any number of things, maybe you're going to be going to the SoCal Open or LVO. If you use our link, which is in chat right now, if you're watching this live, or in the show notes, if you're catching up on this via the podcast version, it helps support us directly. It does not cost you a gosh dang old thing. And yeah, super dope. But Ben, welcome, dude. How have you been, man?
I mean, I'm really tired. That's a long walk.
It is a long walk.
The good news is I've lost like 1,000 pounds, so I'm just kind of bones.
I mean, the fact that you were, yeah, it's good. I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of cool.
I don't know if you've reported that lost or if there's like kind of a lost and found situation. But listen, if you have found Ben's 1,000 pounds, please bring that back. He needs that to go to the WTC in October, probably, or maybe they use euros. I don't know how non-American money works whatsoever. But
Team America, it's good to be back on the show. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
It is always a joy to wonder if I rolled a wild. Wait, did I roll a wild? I can't remember.
It is very funny in natural situations, especially at cons, when I hear people be like, Oh yeah, no, yeah, we forgot the power phase, and it's like, Also, our Infinity podcast, which comes out every other Monday, Arachne and Infinity podcast, with our own beloved Dr. D Dizzles, has a new shirt out. So if you check out the Streamlabs store, I don't think I have a direct link to that, but I'm sure Dr. D will put that directly in chat at some point here very shortly. But Arachne has its own merch now as well, which is super dope.
Well, and there's two really important facts about Arachne and Dr. D. I don't know if you know this, but Infinity has bears in it, like bears with big old laser guns.
It has a shark dude, too.
And it has a shark man dude, right? So, and did you know that like Dr. D is actually the doctor of mythological facts?
I did hear a whole lot about that earlier.
He's just been dropping them today. It has been glorious. So that's actually what the doctor stands for, is the doctor of mythological facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
fun fact.
And I really appreciated that. So I was streaming some Marvel Snap earlier today, because they've been doing Twitch drops and stuff like that, which is super fun. And Dr. D was laying on that text-to-speech button heavily. And I really appreciate that, because one of the things that I normally forget before going live with this particular version is to turn that all off. But thankfully, both him and Xpaxis and Alyssa really made sure that I remembered tonight.
To make sure that bad boy was off.
To turn that bad boy off. Now, tomorrow when I start streaming again, will I remember to turn them on ahead of time? Probably not.
Probably not.
It'll probably be really silent, and then I'll get a very angry message from Tisdale or someone that's like, I can't announce my entry, and I'm upset about it. And I'm like, oh no, I'm so sorry.
But, I mean, if you're watching this, get on live chat and just drop some mythological facts. The 12 trials of Hercules. Let's do it. I want to know about them.
He only had 12 trials?
Yeah.
I feel like he could have handled a lot more.
I mean, probably. And he sang a really cool song too. So a couple songs actually.
He did. It wasn't Let's Get Down to Business, but like I do remember that there were songs in that movie as well.
That's true.
So speaking of 12 trials,
what a segue.
You played a whole bunch of MCP this past weekend at Nashcon.
I did. So I played we played 3 games in the team tournament.
And your team was
Five,
you, Alyssa, and Mike DeLuca, right?
and Mike DeLuca. Our team name was On the Third Day Jesus Slapped,
I did see that on the
um,
Longshanks.
which is wasn't even my idea, which was the best part. It was Mike's idea.
Well, shout out to
And
Mike.
I know, shout out to
Great
Mike
name.
DeLuca. I am all for it. He said it. I go, yes. Say no other. We don't even need to try any others. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
So we played 3 on Friday. Um, I played an extra 2 warm up games Friday night, and then we played 5 on Saturday, and then I played another 2 on Sunday. So
How many total games was it?
4, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 games over 3 days.
What a
Uh,
great segue that Hercules bit was, right?
um,
The
I
12
actually,
trials of RevRightMad.
yeah, there we go. I did not do as well as Hercules did. I have not ascended into demigodhood, but
Yet.
that's for next Nashcon. That's
Yes.
the goal for next Nashcon. Uh, so the first event, we had the team event, and it was really fun. We did the format a little bit differently than some of the other conventions that we've done, which was kind of unique. Basically, there was a heavier emphasis on those who won priority. You were able to kind of make more of the matchups as compared to like when we did it at ACO.
Oh.
So it was a little bit interesting. We won our first prior roll against our first opponents. And unfortunately, I was running Wakanda. I didn't want to bring my mean degenerate list for that, so we brought another Wakanda team, and I just love M'Baku. And
He's
sending
so fun. What a bully. Like,
I
what a presence.
I
Ugh.
just love M'Baku. M'Baku is just such a really fun character, and then just juicing up Killmonger, the Killmonger missile,
Mm-hmm.
so that he can have it's a 9 dice builder with a 13 dice spender on his 2 attacks with
On a Wakanda Forever
Jabari
turn
Chieftain.
too, so you can, like,
Yeah,
oh,
turn 2, it's Wakanda Forever, Jabari Chieftain, and Usurp the Throne. Uh, so you just kind of juice them up and just say, hey, that thing, it's dead.
I
And it was
got to
really
do that
cool.
on stream right after he came out, and oh my gosh, was it fun and satisfying. And it took out a Cosmic Ghost Rider, which was just
Yep.
like, yep, all right, cool.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. So I played in my first match. I played one absolute Matt, which was a great game. He was playing his singles list, which had just the casual Cosmic Ghost Rider, Malekith, and Senior Thanos Guardians.
Mm.
So good good Christian MCP. And, and so we did. We had a great time, uh, and I think the funniest thing that game was Matt pretty much just kind of like pointed at one of my characters, and then they would die. I We counted. I was one shot 8 or 9 times that game. The funniest one was on turn 1. It was Scoundrels and I think Researcher. Um, and I have Shuri go off to my bottom Scoundrels, have her in some reroll range, and so he just casually walks up his rocket, who doesn't have a winging it token, but he decides, why not a 5 dice into Shuri, that shouldn't be too bad, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, maybe you push 1 or 2 damage,
Right.
and it's fine, right? It's fine. Just one shots, blam, dead.
Mm.
Oh, okay, I'm all right. This is fine. Nope, I actually wanted you to do that. Because now I got all these juice for rerolls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, big brain plan.
Now I have all this
Uh,
power for next round.
I've got all this power for next round, and it was rough. And I think the other funniest thing was Killmonger. He does the usurp the throne, Jabari Chieftain,
Mm-hmm.
Wakanda Forever turn. So he takes out Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and then with my Wakanda forever attack, which was a 9 dice attack, or yeah, I think it was 9 dice builder, into Rocket Raccoon, with a Pierce,
Yeah.
all of it, right?
Oh, I already don't
In
like the
in
ending of this. This is not going to be
in a
good.
reroll, in a reroll bubble. Nope, does 1 damage. I just, we just kind of sat there for a moment, and we just laughed, cried together. It was a really special bonding moment for Matt and I for the whole weekend.
And that was, which Matt was that?
That was Matt,
One
one
absolute.
absolute Matt.
I
Yeah, it was
really
one
like that
absolute.
Matt, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
he
I
was.
finally got to meet him. Oh, I guess I didn't meet him in person at Nashcon last year. I met him at Adepticon earlier,
Yeah, it
but
was. Yeah,
we got to go share a meal and stuff, and it was super dope. I really like that Matt.
he was absolutely awesome.
I don't think I've actually met a bad Matt in MCP. Like the main two for me are One Absolute and Matt Alex, which are both just
Both wonderful Matts.
yeah. Yep.
And so that was definitely an interesting moment for me. And so unfortunately, I did not win that game. Um, and Alyssa, I don't think she won her game. She was playing Midnight Suns Immortal
With
Hulk,
Immortal Hulk.
with Immortal Hulk,
Was
doing
she able
the
to bring
fun.
Beta Ray Bill?
Not that game. She did
Or in
bring.
general, it was in her roster for the team event
Yeah.
that she was able to have Beta Ray Bill.
Oh yeah, yeah. We gave her Beta Ray Bill for the team
Good.
event, and
Eh,
it was pretty awesome. She did it her last game. She had Immortal Hulk and Beta Ray Bill and was just chucking people around. It was pretty cool to watch.
what did Mike run for the team event?
Mike brought his. I don't know if he made a last minute change Friday night, but he brought the majority of his solo singles event list, which was Shield.
Okay.
So he had a lot of Shield shenanigans, and I mean, he steamrolled like everybody. He won. He won all 3 of his games for. He was just steamrolling everybody, and it was that was pretty cool to watch. My second game, I actually don't remember who I played, but it was a very close game. I ended up taking the win, but it was a lot closer than it probably could have been. Um, and that was, yeah, it was Research Station and Mayor Fisk against Hydra, and it was a really fun game. It was a kind of a newer opponent, so we were able to kind of laugh and talk
Yeah.
throughout the whole game. And he said, "Man, I haven't seen Wakanda ever," and I was like, "Oh boy, am I gonna just show you some really fun stuff?" He's like, "Oh, that's gonna be like really cool." And when he saw the Killmonger missile,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Wow, that's like really awesome. I'm gonna die.
I'm in danger.
I'm in danger," and that ended up being true. So, but that was really fun. His name was Steve. He was a really cool guy. Um, and then my last opponent, I played against a Steve Rogers Avengers, and he had a really good squad. He brought Steve, Hulk, uh, Crimson,
Mm.
and who else did he bring?
Crimson under Steve is just
Oh,
real
it was
good.
gross. He had another model that I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. And it was Black Panther. He had Black
Mm.
Panther. So we had we had a Black Panther fight on one of the sides that was pretty funny.
Nice.
And that was a really close game. It really came down to I was not going to win on points that game.
Mm.
And it was about really how quickly could I take down Hulk. Um, and unfortunately, under having to navigate around bodyguard and um, the disruption field from Crimson Dynamo
Yeah. There's a lot there to
was
worry about, both
there
attack
was
and defense.
it was just a little bit too much for the Wakandans to handle that day. And M'Baku did go off and did daze Crimson and Steve in one turn with a double spender.
Nice.
So he did the Wrath of the Jabari into and got triggers both times, and so he got four attacks that turn. He's like, "Wow, that's kind of crazy." I'm like, "M'Baku's going nuts, everybody."
So
it was good.
So you mentioned before that the format for the team event was different than what you had experienced at ACO. What was kind of the main difference? Because this was the first time there was a team event at Nashcon.
Yes.
So, and it was the Friday event. So if I recall last year, it was, I think, just What If on Friday. which is
Yeah.
cool because was there a what if event at all at
No,
Nashcon?
no, yeah, no what if this year.
But the
The
fact that
team
it's
event
grown to
ended
the
up
point to be able to have a team event on the Friday is
yeah.
awesome and really cool to see because Nashcon's a really dope event. What was the? But yeah, sorry. What was the
No.
kind of difference from ACO?
So the primary difference was the winner of priority um, got to place one of their teams or one of their squads on any three of the tables. And then the losing team would then place all three of their squads. So what you were able to do is you
Oh.
basically kind of put one squad that's going in blind.
Hmm.
You don't know who that opponent is, but you're able to tailor pick your other two. So it really benefited those who won priority,
Yeah.
um, and that was definitely an interesting format, unlike ACO where there was kind of a give and take.
Yeah.
Um, which was I don't actually know which one I like more. I think it definitely benefited teams. I think the teams that did really well at Nashcon were the teams that could really understand matchups
Yeah.
a lot uh, in a really beneficial way because you could really kind of exploit those in this system. Whereas in the ACO, you really only have one matchup that you're setting up, and then your opponent's team is setting up another one. So there is kind of a counterplay to that, which is kind of neat. So there's some strategy of how to do it. I personally love just team events because of this, because of the simple fact
Yeah.
of you can really determine the best matchups and do things like that. Is my wife saying things in chat? Is that
Dr. D is. He said
oh
so. Whoever looked like they were having the most fun was the person they wanted to smash Ben into.
I mean you know that was on Saturday. That was on Saturday. It was, oh, you want to have fun? Let me show you.
But and then Alyssa
No,
mentioned that the tournament had started unrated, but then switched to rated like partway through, which I wasn't even aware you could do that in Longshanks. Um, but that's a little different. Comp-
yeah, it created some. There was some initial confusion at the front end, but we got it fixed up.
but as far as now, so you've played in a couple different team formats, and to me, and this is maybe a difference of not necessarily of opinion, but I really like team events, like the Adepticon team event. It's a 2v2 team event that
Mhm.
is focused heavily on you're kind of playing one affiliation between two players. Um, and that can go, a couple different ways. But as far as different team events go, when I guess let me think of the way I want to phrase this. Um, doesn't seem in this particular format like there's a lot of unity between the different people playing. You're kind of just playing three separate games out of the same collection almost, um, and that makes it significantly more competitive uh, compared to kind of the Adepticon format where it's a little bit more like we're going to show up in costume and have a good time and do that. What's
Yeah,
your kind of opinion on kind of both different versions of that? The hyper competitive, not hyper competitive, but more competitive version where you can kind of choose and you have to know those mashups, um,
yeah.
which seems like a very critical point of that particular format versus the more, I guess, traditional team up format.
I think both are really, really interesting. I super love the opportunity that you can have where there are some really large affiliations that have multi leaders. You look at like Crime, right? Crime's got 4 leaders now. And they're right at Avengers level of the amount of leaders. So being able to split 2 rosters, 20 characters, being
Hmm.
able to have, technically, 2 leaders on each roster is actually, I think, a really awesome and fun way to play it, and then you can have some cool cosplay. I loved there was like a Rogue and Gambit cosplay
Yep.
at that, which was really cool. And
There
actually,
was there.
Mike,
Uh,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
there was sorry. There was one that was they were cultists of Daddy Dormammu that were
Oh
handing
yeah,
out
yeah,
pamphlets, and the display boards that people were bringing for stuff like that is really fun. There was a couple that was playing all Web Warriors because they both really like Spider-Man, and one had a Miles shirt and one had a Peter Parker shirt, and
Yeah, there's some really fun stuff that I think there was a Winter Guard and Avengers one too, like the
yes,
East
and they
versus
had
West.
this awesome board that was like, yeah, Clash of America and Russia. It was
Yeah,
super dope.
and that's really awesome. I think the strength of that, though, that type of event really amplifies affiliations that can do that.
Yeah,
You know, I think that Winter Guard and Avengers one struggled a little bit because it's hard to kind of mesh both of those affiliations because there's not much depth within Winter Guard.
oh for sure.
Um,
Yeah,
but what I really liked, about these, so we this our team event was a three-person event. WTC in October
hmm
is going to be is five. Is
yeah,
is five, and I believe the rules are the same where you cannot have a single character that is the same in any of the rosters.
hmm
That was the rules for us as well. So it's 30 unique models. I love that. I think that's one of the strengths of MCP is let's show. I mean, we have 150 or 147, 150 characters, unique
yeah.
characters now, not including the new core box stuff revealed. Um, so let's deepen the well
hmm
and have those events that can actually show off all of these are really amazing characters. I think that's awesome. Yes, you do tend to see a little bit more competition. A lot of our conversation, me, Alyssa, and Mike, excuse me, had a lot of have to have a lot of pre-conversation of, okay, what are you taking, what am I taking, so that we don't cross over.
Yeah.
And we had to make some concessions.
hmm
I had to give some things up, Mike had to give a couple things up, Alyssa had to give a couple things up.
Those
So
important
it's not
splash characters become insanely important splash
all,
characters.
everyone kind of just arm wrestles over Bucky. Who gets Bucky?
Correct. Yep.
Right? And so that's really important. And I think a really fun part of kind of the team creation process in those team events.
And
Um,
you kind of laid up a perfect segue for me here, especially leading into Gen Con. AMG announced the timeline events, talking
yeah.
about both deepening and expanding the well at the same time. Um, I'm curious to see, have you taken a look at that at all? That is also 30 models, but for a singles event where you can't repeat the models that you brought on any of the 2 days, based off of a smaller total roster, is something I'm insanely interested in. But I know there's probably going to be a lot of feelings about trying to cart 30 models to an event as well.
I so I'm used to playing big games.
hmm
So the 30 models thing, I think that I have heard that some people are worried about bringing 30 models. I don't think that's really the end of the world once you learn how to pack it the first time.
Yeah, same.
That's really the only learning moment for you.
And I brought
So
120 Termagants alone
right, right, right.
to a
I
month, I think, before.
I played War Machine Horns where I played
Yeah.
I played Kador and I did the Winter Guard or the where were those the dudes the conscripts the conscript Death Stars. So
Yes.
each squad is 20 guys, so that I've had hundreds of dudes too. um I am, as of right now, I think I like it. I
I'm pretty excited for it, to be
Yeah,
perfectly honest.
my only fear is I need the wording of the actual document,
Mhm.
right? Is Are we constricting to just those affiliations, right? So they announced Avengers, Cabal, X-Men, Brotherhood, those four. Um, what do we do with the other ones? Are they allowed to come and play in that timeline event? And that's my worry is, I know some of my friends who they love Spider Foes, and they'll play maybe a Web Warrior list or something else, but if they don't get to spend any time with their Spider Foes, that's not going to really um, be an event that they want to participate in.
Right.
For me, I mean, I have all the models, so I'm, I'm like, I can probably do something. Um, I just want to see the wording of it. I actually love the idea, though. Like I said, I again really love the thought process of let's deepen the well with all of these characters that we
Mhm.
have, and not have Malekith in every list, or Luke Cage,
And
who's a big splash this weekend at Nashcon.
Luke
Luke Cage
Cage
was
was.
everywhere. Yeah, Luke
Okay.
Cage was everywhere.
Huh.
uh, and so I think it would be really cool, to be able to see that, and again strengthen the the depth of this game, which is all of these wonderful characters.
Mhm.
uh, and so I think that would be cool.
I'm very excited for it personally. I think, and I think if there's, and I'm glad you said that. Traveling with 30 models isn't really, really even an
It's really
issue.
not that big of a
It's
deal.
really not a thing. Um, but very excited to see kind of how they do it. And it seems like at the end of the day, what you can really do with that is curb some of the extremes. And
Mhm.
when you're limiting a very large pool like MCP has, it's still probably going to be 80 or 90 models,
Yeah,
included in something like this, which is
yeah.
but yeah, I'm very excited to see where that goes, because I think that's going to be a very exciting format going forward, and I think something that could also play into a team event as well, if you wanted to extrapolate it
100%.
from there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that was just one thing I forgot to bring that up, or that we were talking about it, and I expect us to probably dive pretty heavily into the timeline events as more information comes out. But that is the thing I'm really kind of chomping at the bit for, to
Yeah,
see exactly all the details around it, because I'm very excited about that format.
I'm like 80% like super excited. It's just the little voice in the back of my head going, what about X? So I think once we get the actual document and we could dive in, um, that'll probably ease my, because I'm sure they thought about that. I'm
Mhm.
sure
They have a
that's a
pretty good
plus.
pulse on the community.
They really do. They really do. And so I trust AMG. I think AMG has done a very, very good job of kind of, again, measuring the pulse of where the game is, where the community is, and also trying to find a balance between competitive and casual, more fun
Mhm.
based events, um, like that tends to happen at these bigger cons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, dope. So tell me a little bit more about the singles event at
Yeah.
Nashcon. So big 2-day event, right? It's kind of always the bright and shiny thing at a con, and especially since you've been both last year and this year, and especially since you're Ben. Let me know. Well, as far
Heyo.
as the vibe and stuff as well, I heavily, heavily, heavily enjoyed my time at Nashcon last year. Was very disappointed I didn't get to go this year, or wasn't able to kind of make it work. Um, but one of my favorite things was that the community that was there was incredibly fun to be around. People were playing
Mhm.
Marvel Champions or some social deduction games at night, and everyone was going out to eat together and eating good food and just having a great time. Was that same vibe there this year? Because I'm sure
Oh
it
yeah.
was,
Oh,
but with a lot more people there this year as well, right?
yeah, I think we had. I think it ended up being roughly the same. They sold more tickets, but there was a couple last minute drops too. So number wise, we had roughly around, maybe a little bit more than we did the previous year. Um,
Oh, were there like
but
kind of like a lot of no shows or something?
yeah, yeah, they sold like 76 tickets,
Okay,
which was more than what we had last year.
yeah.
Which was pretty neat. But yeah, so the day before the event, so Thursday night, or sorry, Friday night, and people were playing Unlimited, that was my first, or not Unlimited,
Unmatched.
Unmatched.
Nate
That was
absolutely
my
murdered me last year in Unmatched. He showed it to me. It was the first time I had played it. I was like, "Oh, Bullseye's in this game? Super dope!
uh,
I'll be Bullseye." He played the T-Rex from Jurassic Park and just
I played
chased
the
me
T-Rex.
around. It
It
was
was
terrifying. I was like,
oh,
"Nate, leave me alone, man! I just want to throw stuff."
it was awesome. I got to be a big old T-Rex. It was super fun. So we played there. People were playing on match. We played some champions. We actually played a couple of matches of champions. There was some secret Hitler games that
Yeah,
that were played. Alyssa loved that.
I
There
I,
was
I ended up picking up that game because of NashCon. Playing it with Merzane is
yeah, yep.
an experience that has to be had.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was just a wonderful, wonderful time.
And
Uh,
Nate GG very specifically is terrifying in social deduction games because you just can't read the dude. It is
yeah,
impossible. We played
solid.
a bunch of Night of the Ninja as well at Adepticon this year, and the same.
Mm.
I just can't read that dude whatsoever. And then he just murders you out of nowhere, and it's like, what? And I'm like,
What?
what do you mean? I trusted you.
Just bamboozled. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It was super fun. So there were several games of that. There are practice games, going preparing for the singles event. So I mean, we didn't go to bed till about 1 o'clock
Yeah.
on Friday, and the team event ended I think at like seven,
7.
eight,
Yeah.
7 or 8, like that. So people were just hanging out, and actually, we bunch of the community went out to party foul to make sure that I would die
To get that
with
Nashville hot
spicy.
chicken. Dude,
Yep,
Sooner's a champion at hot food
yep,
there. Like, I
yep,
was shocked last year. He's like, yeah, the spiciest one, and just downs it, and then is looking around like,
yep.
what? Why are you guys drinking drinks? You,
Right, yeah.
you
Just
need you need water with this?
right, he was culling the weak.
Right.
That was there was a lot of discussion of people trying to tamper with my food so that I get the spiciest, hottest food
Oof.
the night before the singles event, so they didn't have to play my list. So that was fun having to check for spice level.
Yeah.
But it was great. Like I said, I mean that's why we go to Nashville. The community is great.
Hmm.
There's a lot of the podcasters that are represented. So like I said, there's really wonderful discussions that are happening. People are laughing, making friendships. We actually had a we met tattooed Colossus. So we met
Yes.
him. Uh, yeah, met Jeff and his buddy Reb, which was awesome. He actually, showed me some cool Colossus stuff. I'm like, I mean, already just love you. You're freaking awesome. So we met a lot of really awesome people. What was nice is that this event, this Nashcon, we had I think like 10 newer players to MCP
Nice.
uh, show up and be there. So again, what that tells us is the community is growing.
Hmm.
The one of the big important things that Nate is really trying to emphasize is yes, this is a competitive event, and we want to make it accessible for everyone to come,
Hmm.
everyone to have fun. The raffle support was awesome. Like I said, there was a really wonderful opportunity to be there, build community, which is really we've talked about that, trying to
Yeah.
find the balance between competitive events, but also building community, building relationships, and
Hmm.
like I said, I think it's fair to say that the vast majority of people who went to Nashcon left with new friends. With I mean, I've got a whole bunch of folks, new discords and stuff like that.
Right.
Being able to just connect. I got a bunch of friend requests, on Facebook. It was really cool, and that's something that I celebrate a whole bunch.
Speaking
And then
of
getting ready.
new
I'm
people
sorry.
getting
Go ahead.
into the game, so at Gen Con, I was given a bunch of demos of the new core box, and the amount of people that I gave demos to that were like, you know what, I picked up MCP like a couple years ago, never put it together, never learned how to play. I've always been interested, but it was shocking to me that there's so many people out there that have some MCP stuff that just haven't gotten around to it. But then once they saw it play, they're like, okay, this is what we need to do. When we get home, we're ordering these. I mean, they're like
Yeah.
checking their LGSs to see if they have some of this stuff in stock, and like they're like, well, I didn't realize all the X-Men came out or these people are out. It's like,
Yeah.
well, dude, yeah, you're gonna have a great time. Guess what?
I
But
showed a mother and father and their like 10-year-old son who was walking around during the singles event
mhm,
and just kind of checking out all of the the historical games, all the other stuff, and
yeah,
made it to our room and like, oh, it's superheroes. I'm like, boy, let me come sit a while, let me tell you a story. And it was really cool to just kind of show um, even in the midst of a competitive event, people as they're watching games, the players are willing to say, "Hey, this is what this game is. Hey, do you want to see something cool?
mhm,
This is what this is." And so I think that's great for the atmosphere, great for the community, and showing people that the game is not super hard to get into.
mhm,
By it's kind of like there's a new core box that's coming out
right,
that is like a super ease into the game that has access to all the different types of characters that are in the game. Hint,
mhm,
hint, wink, wink. Which we'll get to here in a little bit, but it's something that's interesting. So to talk about all of like the positive and wonderful things, a lot of my friends, one of my good buddies, Curtis Osborne, who's a friend of the podcast on our channel here.
mhm,
Uh, uh, said this about my list, my singles event, going into Saturday, that this was the start of my villain arc, that this was my villain origin story,
Hmm.
um, because I decided, after a long debate, after some of the changes, um, that I wanted to give people a good showing that, um, that that we can do this. We can be a bad guy,
Yeah.
that we can just go full
Just
villain.
playing Billie Eilish on your phone the whole time. I'm
Oh
the
yeah,
bad guy. Yeah.
oops, it was me. I'm the problem. Um,
That's Taylor
and
Swift. Don't you ever
oh,
on
my
this
bad.
show
Sorry,
cross up
my,
Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift.
my bad.
Big
I'm the
fans of
problem
both,
again.
but they have different vibes.
So that was kind of the thought process going into the event was, I just wanted to be as degenerate, um, as possible, um, and I accomplished that. That was my goal, and I accomplished that. And I did start every match apologizing to my opponent, which was, "I'm sorry, I love you, Jesus loves you. Let's do this." Um,
So
and
what were you playing?
I was playing Malekith Cabal,
Gotcha.
just pure Malekith Cabal. The core of the team, the core is around 18 threat, which is Malekith, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Red Skull 2. That's it. That's 18 threat, and I
If
knew
you
that
can't
anytime.
spell an anagram of bad guy from those three models, listen, you're not trying.
Yep, it was full villain, and I knew that every time I picked 18, that I was just going to win.
Hmm.
It was pretty much. I felt really confident, I had Mystique with Deception as well for just extra, uh, you know,
Hmm.
uh, good fun, and the cool alt card from AMG that they gave
Oh, from
out last time.
the store support set, that
Yes, yeah, that
deception
one.
with Cyclops on
Yes,
it too,
with
right?
Cyclops on it. Yeah, people were like, "Oh,
Uh,
that's so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, it's mine. It's mine. Don't don't take."
it's really cool.
Yeah. No takey, mine. So my first opponent was a. There was so many Guardians of the Galaxy players.
Hmm.
They were actually. I'm gonna double check
I feel
the
like I did
statistics.
see, like, just looking at the Longshanks, it doesn't necessarily matter the amount, but like I did see a lot of pictures of Guardians, Ghost Rider, Guardians, Thanos, Guardians, Malekith. Actually, just all three of those in Guardians. But
They they were 29. There were 29. There were 29 games played of Guardians of the Galaxy out of
29
five.
games played, or like 29 Guardians players. It's like
20
half of the
20
people that went to the singles tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah, 29 games played with Guardians of the Galaxy. So I guess
Gotcha.
on eight players,
Okay.
which is not as bad. Yeah, not as bad as I thought it was. But I just had the holy privilege of just playing all of them. So it was super fun. We had a so my first round opponent was a nice guy. His name was Will. He was playing Guardians of the Galaxy, and I knew that he was going to play Cosmic Ghost Rider because he's in affiliation.
Hmm.
Um, and he we played Hammers and Demons Downtown. Um, and basically, the thought process with the Malekith list is, Cosmic Ghost Rider turns on Malekith on turn one.
Yep.
Uh, uh, if I
He's
get
been working
two,
out. He looks really good. It makes a lot of sense.
yeah. Oh, I mean, he's a good looking guy. So it's really the flames that do it for Malekith. He
Hmm.
likes he likes fire. So the whole core is you get 2 power on Cosmic Ghost Rider's extra power. If you get two, you can place yourself 3. The medium base with range 4 pretty much covers the vast majority of the map.
Yeah.
So no matter where you're going to place yourself, if you move off of your deployment zone, Cosmic Ghost Rider is going to get you on that turn one.
Hmm.
And 6 dice counting skulls generally
Yep.
generally is going to do it.
Can be pretty good.
Uh, Generally is going to do it. And unfortunately, my opponent just kind of made a mistake of not anticipating how far my Cosmic Ghost Rider could go. He double walked his Star Lord to get a far hammer, and that was pretty much all that she wrote. My Cosmic Ghost Rider placed himself range 4 because he actually got 3 successes.
Hmm.
And when you place yourself range 4 and then have an attack at range 4, he just double whipped Star Lord, and uh, that that turn that did the trick for him, which gives Malekith a small move and gives him the third power so that he can charge
Yep.
on turn one without using a tactic card like
Like
advanced
advanced
R&D.
R&D or yeah.
Yep. Which was really important for my list because like, my two restricted cards were Brace and Deception, so I wasn't taking advanced R&D.
Mhm.
So I was really relying pretty heavily on the please let me kill one of your models on turn one, pretty please, or hoping that my opponent would sacrifice good position because they were afraid of just doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see that.
so by the end of turn three, I had effectively tabled him.
As Dr. D said, made the mistake of being both alive and there.
Yeah, yes, he did make the crucial mistake of being alive and there. So that was kind of a rough one for him.
Yeah.
He basically lost his leadership on the top of turn two.
Yeah.
It's hard to win the game without that winging it token. So my second opponent was, you guessed it, a Guardians of the Galaxy player.
So overall, throughout the course of the singles tournament, how many Guardians players did you play?
I played. I only played two. I only played two. It felt like 500.
Gotcha.
But because I played two Guardians players. I played two of them in the team event, and then two of my practice games were both Guardians players. So,
Gotcha.
so over the weekend itself, I had played a lot of Guardians players, but
And
only two in the singles.
who ended up taking the whole thing at the end on day two? Or
Uh,
what
on
affiliation?
on it was Sam Avengers. Again,
Okay.
this is the
That's
third
three
year
years
in
in
a
a
row.
row.
It's 3 years in a row that
All right.
Sam has won the whole thing. That's kind of the funny story that people were saying is, yeah, if you want to win Nashcon, just take Sam.
That's
Just
the
bring
place to do it.
Sam.
Well, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but like every year for Nashcon specifically, um, Nashville prints custom license plates that
Oh yeah,
have
yeah.
the little Captain America thing with 3 stars on it. Like it's super dope. So like if you want to win at Nashcon, you have to bring a character that can represent the license plate of Tennessee,
And it's
which
in the rules.
it's in the rules.
It's in the rules. So that was it was really interesting. It was Sooner. He was piloted by Sooner.
Nice.
He was taking a dual affiliation of Wakanda and Sam.
One of my
Uh,
favorite moments from last year was being in that room. I forget who Sooner was playing. I think it may have been Zach, but he had uh, that round pop off where somehow Rocket just murderized like 3 people, including I think a Malekith or something along those lines, and
yeah, I
dropped
think
like
I
three
remember that.
hammers and stuff, and then unfortunately stacked them all up or whatever. But I remember being like feet away from it when that happened, and he was like, "What? It keeps going. Rock goes to great." Like it was just I love
It, I
those
mean,
moments.
Sooner is just a wonderful
Super dope
player.
guy. Yeah.
And he kept telling me through the whole event, he's like, Ben, can you just do me every in between each round?
Yeah.
He go, Ben, man, I'm so proud of you. You're doing a great job. Can you do me a favor? Can you lose, please? Um, um, can you just lose? Because he just didn't want to. He was one of my practice part. We played a couple of times and
Yeah.
we had talked, before, and excuse me. And he was like, I don't want to play your list. Please don't do this to me. And it's just, please. I was like, well, yeah, just don't pick 18 and you're fine. and, and you're fine. But it was really, it was wonderful. Well, my third game was against, I think the only Web Warrior player, Aaron Franklin.
Oh, nice.
Uh, really, really great guy.
Yeah.
So during that game, we had like 4 hugs. It was just like lots of tears, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, unfortunately, they were my tears.
Oh,
Uh,
gotcha.
this was the one game that I lost. He played just so
He's
perfectly.
yeah. Yep.
He is a very very good player. He's from the Infamous podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and just a really. This was my first time meeting him. I've listened to his podcast a couple of times,
Yeah.
but it was really awesome to meet him in person, and just play. And turn one, I had the exact opening that I wanted. I
Yeah.
forced him to kind of play off of some of the points, so because he didn't want to run into Malekith. I got the turn one days with Cosmic Ghost Rider onto Toad. Poor Toad just sacrificed himself.
That's what he does sometimes.
I mean, hey, that's what hashtag. We're no longer evil mutants. Uh,
They're a brotherhood. That's it.
they're,
At the end of
they're
the
a
day.
brotherhood, right? We drop the word evil. It's fine.
A fraternal society that can even get their own group plans. It's pretty great.
Right. It's pretty awesome. Um, Unfortunately for me, um, I had probably as good of a turn one as I could have gotten with him playing position wise
Mhm.
as well as he did. Um, Turn two, I got 0 dazes.
Gotcha.
A hot zero. I've never seen someone on 2 dice block as much as he did. I was pulling people with Cosmic Ghost Rider, incinerating them. It was Black Cat who rolled 6 successes on the 2 defenses that
wow.
she rolled. I was like, oh, I don't even. I just want to cry. I even.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say right now. But it was great. It came out to be a really close game. He won 17-12. If I probably played a little bit better, I might have pulled it out. But he's a great opponent, and he got second place.
Oh,
So
nice. Yeah, Aaron
uh,
always seems to do rather well. I think we got. He was on stream. I think in the finals against Nate, if I recall, the first Adepticon that we did.
I
I
I
think it was.
believe so.
I think it was a murdery Black Order list against Avengers, if I recall correctly. But yeah, Aaron is norm. Anytime we've interacted with him, super nice dude. Just
Just
first
a
off,
great, just a great guy.
an
There was a lot of
incredibly skilled player.
just a wonderfully skilled player. There was a lot of bartering at the table. I
Yeah,
was asking if I can bring in another character. Just and he said, "Oh yeah, I'll bring in another character for 2 tactic cards." It was
yeah,
just,
easy swap.
oh yeah, it was great. And
Speak.
those. I'm sorry, go
No, no, finish that.
ahead. I said those are the competitive games of MCP that I think for me define what this game is about. Where we play the most competitive stuff that we could play,
Hmm.
and tried. We're both trying to win as hard as we can, and yet uh, lots of laughs. I mean, we stopped and hugged, like I said, 3 times. I
Yeah,
mean, it was just we're having hey, what if you do this? I mean, just having a really wonderful time. And so I think for me, that's kind of the definition and hope for all competitive games.
yeah.
Is to look like that. Um,
But speaking of sacking 2 tactics cards to bring in a character and facing 2 Guardians players, we have 2 characters that we need to get to before we run out of time.
oh yes, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah,
In the new Ultron Metal Tyrant, as well as the new Baron Helmet Zemo, not Zero, who's now an affiliation leader. So these were 2 characters I believe you were kind of excited about pretty specifically, right?
oh yeah. I'm super stoked for both of these characters.
Let me go ahead and get Zemo here on the screen. So, right leading up to Gen Con, AMG announced that there's going to be kind of a new core box. That is not a new edition, it is not a new version, but that there would be kind of they've learned a lot, both in sculpting and in game design, character design, and all that good stuff. And they wanted another go to kind of show off how much they've grown in this game system, which is going on year 4 now. And I
Yeah.
think that the sculpts that they've shown off, the character cards, does in fact literally every one of these that I've talked about or have heard other people talk about or other shows pretty dynamically expresses that they've learned a lot. They probably did
Yeah.
this because they learned from this last time, or because this is something that's needed, or this is and these aren't replacements for those characters. I don't think we're ever not going to see people running um, Core Box 1 Steve,
Yeah.
like ever, including and a handful of other characters in there as well. Even characters like Iron Man coming
Mhm.
back kind of out of nowhere at the start of 2023 at LVO was all over the place just for Helios, right?
Yeah.
Um, and to seeing him to work to great effect. But the first 2 characters that we're going to talk about from this new Core Box release, which is going to be coming out in October, are Ultron Metal Tyrant as well as Baron Helmet Zemo. Let's talk about Zemo first. one of the cool things about this new core box is that it kind of gives you access to a lot of affiliations in this kind of new jump on point. Where in the OG core box you had Avengers and Cabal, very iconic, great way to start MCP. Core Box 2 is going to give you access to a lot of affiliations, including Hydra, Shield, Avengers, Cabal, Spider Foes.
Foes, yeah.
Is that all? Is there more? I mean, there's already 5 affiliations.
Yeah, I think it is just 5. Yeah, I think it's just 5.
But so let's run through Baron Zemo real quick. Now, these cards have been effectively spoiled pretty much everywhere. A bunch were on the floor at Gen Con, and they've been releasing these transmissions like kind of one after another. Every couple days we're getting another one of these character cards. But tell me a little bit about why you're excited for Zemo. To go over his affiliation ability real quick, it's a Hydra affiliation called Army of Evil, and when this leadership becomes active, add 1 Hydra or unaffiliated Team Tactics card from your unused Team Tactics cards to your available Team Tactics cards. It may be played this game. Additionally, once each turn, after 1 or more allied characters pay power to play a Tactics card, choose one of the characters that paid power to play the card. Chosen character gains a power. Pretty dope.
Just love every word you just said. Just love all of it.
Have you ever wanted more Tactics cards?
Have you ever wanted more tactic cards? You ever realize how good tactic cards are?
Now you're gonna have to start. Yeah, now you're gonna have to start offering Aaron 3 Tactics cards to bring in another character.
Exactly. I am just
with a Hydra Team Tactics card. Maybe you could.
I'm just so stoked. So first of all, one of the best things about this about new Zemo is his name got longer, but his movement got shorter, and I love that. I think that's he goes from a long move to a medium move, and that's because he carries the weight of the helmet name, and I just love that. I mean, he's got a pierce on and a move trigger on his builder. I absolutely love. He's got a range 4 pistol shot.
He's got a gun now. What was the one thing Baron Zemo was missing? It was a gun.
He needed a pew pew, and he's got triggers. I mean, he's got a stagger trigger on a range 4 pistol. I just absolutely love it. The coup de grace is really awesome. But I just love that he also has the Master Duelist, which gives him. You ever think Killmonger's real cool, where he just gets to slap you even harder? Well, now Baron Zemo can do that. So hear me out, though. This is the best thing. This is where my brain instantly went. Free tactic card. So I'm already thinking, what free tactic card do I want? I'm going to pitch you this best idea, Tim. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I need you to hold your pants. Okay?
My pants are held.
This is an amazing thing. I'm talking about the Hydra High Council.
That's exactly it.
What if we get a free card and then we get a free character? I mean, I love it. I love the fact that you can even just have it on the table and threaten your opponent going, if you mess up, if you don't pay attention to this, I'm going to have another 4-threat character on the table. And the biggest weakness, in my opinion, of the High Council card before was Baron Zemo, because when you needed him to finish somebody off, he just always didn't do it. He missed the mark. So what if, hear me out, your Zemo just got more punchy, and ta-da, I give you Baron Helmet Zemo. I love this card. I think the High Council is a potentially medium okay thing, but there is a wonderful window in which you activate your leadership after you deploy. So you get to see your opponent's tactic cards and their leadership before you take that extra card. So what if you had Brace on the side and you didn't take it because you're not sure if they're going to take a lot of people that throw or manipulate people? Oh, they did? Brace to the rescue, right? Or whatever it may be. I think this is just so. I saw Zemo's card. I went freaking bonkers. One of the events I qualified for LVO was with Hydra. I can't wait to bring Hydra out again. I'm stoked.
Same. I'm a very large Hydra player as well, but I've been trying to lose weight, and I also really like Criminal Syndicate. And being able to use the card versatile strategy, especially with the new MODOK that came out, and now claw, I guess, if you really wanted to. But I love versatile strategy. I love bringing in a couple different leaders that, maybe in the first half or rounds 1 and 2 have a very strong ability like Kingpin. And then later I can switch that to MODOK when I just need to be mowing people down and I have some characters injured. Having another Hydra leader that his other version isn't a Hydra leader, I already think, obviously, Red Skull, Master of Hydra, and Baron Strucker already have very solid leadership abilities to be able to throw in Baron Zemo as well and really be able to be playing on your feet at all times. Or like you said, you come in, you don't have versatile strategy, but maybe you make Baron your leader and then you can switch that later on. I think that's super dope as far as something that's really strong to bring something in and then you swap it to one of the other ones you need for the rest of the game. Pretty nice.
I love it. For me, one of the opening strategy is going to be you start with Red Skull's leadership, and then you versatile into Baron when you've triggered all of the effects for High Council. So you're automatically getting to. It's just there's so many fun things that you can do with it.
Think about that though too. Very specifically, the wording of Army of Evil. When this leadership becomes active. So you can versatile strategy into it and then pull a tactics card that maybe you didn't need till round 4.
Yep.
Like, that part is so stupid exciting to me. Like, especially as someone that really wants to be able to pull off killing a Spider-Man with a cloned-in Sinister Kraven or whatever. It just makes so many antics, and hiding that I want to... whatever you call it, bring in Kraven to do that. Why can't I? Fearful Symmetry. We got there. But now I can lay that over there for a little while longer and not telegraph it as much. That is exactly what I want to do.
For me, I think this is one of the best designed leaderships that AMG has come out with.
Yeah.
I am just so ecstatic of. Wow, so this is just not another reworked or kind of a slightly different version of another affiliation's ability. This is like his own thing. I think it changes the game in really wonderful ways. I think when you're picking your squads, you as the opponent and you see Zemo, you're like, oh man, now they can take 6 cards, and so if they take the Zemo leadership or if they take the Strucker, or it's going to cause your opponent's fits. And you haven't even played anything.
Right.
What if? Hear me out. You do the Zemo new card for like a MODOK mind games. I don't think that's legal. I don't think you actually can. But I think it's hilarious that it's kind of mind games on top of mind games. Tim,
it is.
I love it.
I love mind games on top of mind games even.
Yeah.
But to go through kind of the stats here real quick, so he's 4-3-4 for his defenses. I believe he's 5-5. I can't remember what he is on his injured side for stamina. But 4 threat, size 2, medium mover. So medium mover might be a little bit difficult for people to get used to. He is 5 on this, or 6 on the other side.
No, 6 on the other side.
6 on the other side. 6 on injured. His basic sword strike is super dope. Range 2, strength 5, multiple triggers here. Gains power equal to the damage dealt, pierce on a wild, and dancing strike on a crit wild, which allows him to advance short. He now has a ranged attack with adhesive X pistol, range 4, strength 5, not a gainer, but so many triggers. Wild is a slow, you add a crit to that, now they're stunned too, you add a skull to that, now they're staggered. Just for the amount of skulls that I roll in general.
There you go.
Going to be in a lot of my rosters, and at only 4 threat, thankfully, I can do that. Quick Step is a medium movement for 2 power. He has his Strategic Genius still, and then the thing that Ben was referring to earlier, the Master Duelist, where if this character makes a sword strike attack against a character it has already made an attack against, it adds 2 dice to the attack roll. So can't use it on the pistol, can't use it on the spender, but if you've already attacked them at all, you get a 7 dice builder with multiple triggers. With Pierce.
Yeah, strategic Genius reroll. It's all coming up, Zemo.
It really is.
I love it.
I got a lot of time with Zemo very specifically at Gen Con. The 4 characters I got to play a lot were Crossbones, Zemo, the new Red Skull. They're all new. I don't know why I decided to say the new Red Skull. And Dr. Octopus. Because people, if I was giving a one-on-one, normally I was giving it to 2 people, but people cleaved to Avengers. You know what I mean? They want to play the good guys. On the Avengers side, it was Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, and Spider-Man.
Okay.
So I've got a lot of time in with these particular 8 characters, and they're an absolute lot of fun. I'm very excited for the new core box.
That's awesome.
However, the other character we're talking about today is probably, it was the first one kind of the model was shown for at Adepticon this past year. The big banner behind us had all of these characters on it, and chat was blowing up. It's like, what? But that Ultron has a cape, and there's Ultron bots, and all of is this a new core bot? Like, and the fact that they kept that under their hat for so long was pretty stellar. But the big shiny thing in there was this new Ultron with a cape and Ultron bots.
Yeah. I think this new Ultron, the Metal Tyrant, first of all, just an awesome name. But he's a 4/4/5, 8 health on his front side.
Yes.
5 threat, so he's going to be your big boy, but that's okay. Size 3, medium move. He goes down to 6 health on his backside, but I want to talk about that for just a second before we get into the rest of his card, because I think one of the wonderful things that they did, and I think it was done intentionally. At least I'm going to give them credit that it was done intentionally. Is this Ultron can play the Ultron card from the core box called the Age of Ultron. So you can just kind of go ham with this Ultron, and oh no, he's been KO'd. You're going to remove your big 5 threat. Oh, you play 8 power and go, no, fam, he's back. He wants some more. It's the Age of Ultron. Let's do this. I just think that's so cool. I think it's very intentional because it rewards people who've had the OG box, the original core box. So it's a really wonderful incentive for those of us who've been in the game for a long time. And also just a cool thing for new players as well. He's got a range 4 builder that also poisons and bleeds on a wild at range 4, 6 dice.
6 dice really energy builder.
Just love it.
Very nice. For a 5 threat, Cables doesn't even do that.
And he's on a medium base too, right? So that's going to give you some extra. It's going to give you some extra distance. His spender, the Extinction Protocols, is a size 4 throw.
Yep.
Just and no triggers. Just
no
does
trigger.
Nope. Just does it. So for 4 power, it's also 4 power, Tim. I don't know if you noticed, it's 4 power. It's range 3, 8 dice. It's a range or a size 4 throw before damage is dealt. Oh, did you daze that model? Well, you still get to throw him anyways. So here, catch this Hulk, right? I just love it. And which is going to be a theme for Ultron, is he makes things go kablooey. And here's the really interesting thing is the timing of the throw and the wild trigger is you can throw your opponent. You can throw your size 4, and let's say there's a sneaky Black Widow that's on 1 health, and you got that wild trigger, but she's just outside of 2, Tim. She's just outside of 2 and hiding behind a dumpster, so you can't throw her. Well, you throw this Hulk into a dumpster, and now she's within size 2. Then the trigger goes off, and you got her. I mean, or
so even the push. The narrative thought of Ultron using his big thing and hurling somebody into just like a bowling ball into a bunch of their allies, pushing them all off an objective, a final last round activation of Ultron. It seems like it's gonna be pretty good.
I just love it so much. And if you didn't like that, friends, he's got a spend 3 size 4 terrain throw.
And medium too.
And he throws
within
it
range
medium
3.
And already he keeps that superpower from the core box one. But here's the thing: the core box Ultron doesn't get enough love. It's a good model at 4 threat. It's a good model.
I played him in the Power Bottom 10 for a long time, and actually was like, why aren't people playing him? He's really good. And that was right after Wizards came out too. And I was like, you can't hurt him. Try.
He's not bad. And so he keeps this throw that is on the core box or the first core box Ultron. That's going to be hard to be able to say it's the first core box. But then he's got a nice, wonderful bow effect with his encephalioid beam. is how you say. I don't know how.
You said it a lot better than I would have
Uh,
struggled through it.
fast and with confidence. Nobody can tell the difference.
Right.
Only for 2 power, which is just a wonderful ability. So you can move people. You're not in range of 3 for my big old spender. Well, joke's on you. I actually bow you before. It's just, I love it.
Well, and very specifically, there's a 3-threat Spider-Man in this box, right? So
Yeah.
what we already talked about, how Baron Helmet Zemo is there to help me get Fearful Symmetry off. Guess what? Craven also can trap someone, and when they move or advance, they take damage.
Mhm.
And now Ultron can help Craven, in addition to Baron Zemo, to move that Spider-Man, especially now a 3-threat Spider-Man, to take that one last damage from Craven's ability to make him become Spider-Man himself.
We've done it. We've cracked the code. We've cracked
done the
code.
Mickey.
You heard it. You heard it here first, folks.
Everything is about Fearful Symmetry. This new core box is raising the stock of Fearful Symmetry through the roof. New Spider-Foes affiliation leader. Ultron moving people. Extra Tactics cards. Listen, it's all coming up, Craven.
Done. Yeah, we've done it. It's all coming up, Craven. So he's got the his passive abilities of flight and immunity to bleed and poison, which should
be a 6th threat. Immunity to poison.
Should be a 6th. Immune to poison. It's already there, right? And he's got his cool metal mine, which gives him some extra defensive stuff.
Wild count is 2.
Against mystical stuff. But what if I told you, Tim, that one robot wasn't enough? What if you get technically 4 robots
with some very few points of contact for some of those top robots? The sculpt on this drone, on the Ultron drones, is exceptional. Like, really cool. I'm very excited to see how people put their own spin on this, because there's kind of a lot there that I feel like you could do. There's a lot of wiggle room. There's a lot of, like, do you have 1? Do you have 2? Do you have 3? Do you have 4 Ultron drones on that base? And how do you do it? Do you have them blasting up? Do you have them blasting over? It seems like there's a... I don't have a card for it, Dr. D. I'm sorry. So there won't be one.
Oh, Dr. D. Well, you know what? You don't need a card. We'll tell you it right now.
Yeah.
The Ultron drones have 3 health, a medium move, and they're 2 defense across the board, size 2. They have a range 3 4 dice attack that is very similar to all of the grunts attacks. So these are going to be Ultron's grunts, and how these grunts are summoned is whenever they are removed from the board, if a terrain feature is destroyed, Ultron can summon them and place them within, I'm just double checking, within range 3 of himself, which is a lot different than some of the other drones the other grunts that we have seen, which is really cool. One of the primary things, though, that I think is absolutely wonderful about this is that these grunts are the first grunts that have no interactions.
No interactions.
So no interactions with objectives of extracts or secures. I love that. I think that's so amazing. I wish that we saw more grunts that did this. I think that's a really awesome thing that these grunts can do is no interactions. They're here for the full slap. All they want to do is slap some people.
Oops, all slaps.
Oops, all slaps. And then they have a wonderful reactive superpower called Rough Around the Edges, that when these drones would be removed, everybody within range 2 takes a damage. They go kablam! They explode. And for every damage that's out this way, Ultron gains a power.
Finally, an ability or a tactics card that allows a robot to explode and deal damage around it. I've never seen anything like this in this game before, but listen, Sentinel stock still going through the roof.
Sentinels are just, oops, all robots. Let's do it.
I do love that the conditions of the ability on Ultron to make these comes out is just an allied destruction, not his own. I think these are the first grunts that can come out not on the parent's turn.
Yep. Yes. These are the first grunts that come out on the non-parent's turn. And I just want to let you know, do you know who pairs really well? It's actually Dr. D's favorite character.
Sentinel Prime.
Incorrect. Dr. D's favorite character is a strong Magneto.
Oh,
just
I thought you were going to say that just the regular MK4s, but nope. Yeah, you took me down a different route.
Oh yeah, no, we're going straight into Magneto land where just imagine a big old robot who's throwing things at wizards, and then with a wonderful man who was always right, Magneto, throwing things, making robots. And hear me out, you can throw things at your robots and make them explode into enemies. I just love it. There's a really, I love this game. I think it's gonna be awesome. I love Ultron. I love Zemo. I'm here for it.
Between all of the stuff that we've already seen from this core box, where it may have seemed like a little bit of a dry time for MCP, especially as Shatterpoint was coming out. And we've talked about this a little bit before, where, Shatterpoint needed its time to breathe. You can't
Yep.
just keep shoving that stuff down all the time. You know what I mean? It can exhaust you a little bit. But
Yep.
the thing I loved about it is it let me focus on Shatterpoint and have an incredibly good time with it. It let them have a few releases, and now I'm super pumped for MCP and still pumped for Shatterpoint stuff. So the decision that they have made around release schedules for these two games has been just so on point for specifically me, and I really appreciate the convenience of it.
I I think this is so awesome. I'm very excited, very happy. Um, I think these two characters are going to be my two favorite characters that I'll be playing with right right out of the box. Will be the first ones that we build and paint.
Mhm.
I'm just so stoked for it. Yeah, I think this core box. If you haven't gotten into the game, where have you been the last 4 years? And then two, get this core box. It's a really good deal. I think this is awesome. It comes with terrain that you can destroy and then create Ultron bots. I
Mhm.
mean, it sells itself. I'm just saying.
Well, and I mean, from what I got to see during those demos, there's a bunch of Ultron bots to be able to put in all of this terrain as well. Like,
That's true.
like decapitated things, like on crushed cars and on car hoods and in buildings and stuff. They've really kind of knocked it out of the park here. I think this is very much so. If you play MCP and maybe you don't have a huge community around you, this core box is a massive opportunity. A massive opportunity for you because you already love the game. Like you're here, you're listening to this. I don't think people that hate MCP outside of Dr. D listen to this show, but
I was gonna say, there's one. There's one.
but this is going to be a real resurgence for this game, which wasn't necessarily in a huge slump anyway. If you have friends that just never got into it or never got around to it or wasn't the right time, now is the time. This core box is stellar. You're going to be picking it up anyway because whether you're a new or old player, this is all beneficial to everyone, whether you play or not. So I think the next few months are going to be a really, really stellar time for MCP. And then next year, once maybe that wanes a little bit, guess what? All X-Men, baby. More X-Men. We get Bishop and Nightcrawler and Iceman and Shadow King and Professor X, and it's going to be dope.
You didn't hear this? You didn't hear about this? X-Men got not the X-Men, but Iceman got delayed.
Oh yeah, he is. Well,
Yeah.
Dallas said on stream at Adepticon that he will retire before Iceman comes out.
Yeah, no,
and then revealed Iceman like 12 hours later. What? Dallas?
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
But yeah, no, like I said, in all seriousness, one of the things that I can't recommend enough, if you're unsure about MCP or this new core box, split it with a friend. It's still a great deal. You can do the bad guys and good guys split, or pick your favorite characters from it. It's a wonderful deal. Yes, it's a little bit more than last time, but you're getting more models, getting some terrain, getting all these wonderful new tokens that I think are really great for the game.
The generic secures and extracts were awesome. Yep. The new format of the tarot cards for objectives with the map on it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, and what that does, let's talk about how that future proofs more releases. So we don't need to have necessarily every new crisis say it has to be an A, B, C, or D. It's just you can have that on the card now.
Yep.
You don't know what that setup is. It's right there on the card.
It's very freeing. New tag or new object. New crisis. Secures and extracts can be whatever. They don't have to be on a specific setting or a specific map, which gives us a lot more variety, just a metric ton. And yeah, I think you nailed it on the head as far as future proofing. It's a very good setup.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. So get the core box, split it with a friend, get some MCP. We're doing stuff, in Oneonta and Syracuse. There's things
Hmm.
happening in Buffalo. Here in New York, like I said, we're moving and shaking for some more MCP. So let's keep the gravy train rolling.
But with that said, Ben, thank you so much for being on. I was so happy when you mentioned that we were free this weekend, or this, yeah, not this weekend, but at the start of this weekend. I guess Thursday's the precursor to the
I was
precursor of the weekend.
I had a lot of free time walking. It was a
Yeah,
long walk.
that's fair. Listen, dude, you look great.
Oh, thanks.
It's been
Face is red, so math checks out.
been great to hang out with you. But as always, guys, we will be back hopefully significantly more regularly. Um, Battle reports and stuff are going up now as well for both Shatterpoint and MCP every Tuesday for Oh Yeah, the Power Phase, or Oh Yeah, the uh, Force
Force
Phase.
phase.
Yeah. But got a bunch of dope stuff, new episodes of everything coming out pretty much every day on the network. Monday through Friday, there is a new episode of a show. Monday is the Lost Omens podcast, a Pathfinder 2nd Edition actual play podcast. And also every other Monday is Arachne, an Infinity podcast with our own Dr. D. And I have to say, if you haven't checked that out, I don't play Infinity. I'm not on the show. And I listen to Arachne because the chemistry between especially Dr. D and Quinn and some of the other hosts that he's had on there have been absolutely stellar. Tuesdays, you listen to it right now, is Wait, Did I Roll a Wild? In addition to Oh Yeah, the Power Phase on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. on the Twitch, where we play some Shatterpoint or some Marvel Crisis Protocol. Wednesdays is Patreon Day. So we have episodes of a Pathfinder 2nd Edition actual play podcast that I run and don't follow any of my own rules, called The Slithering. That's on the Patreon only, as well as Settling the Southland, Dan's homebrewed Warhammer 4th Edition actual play podcast, where we are settling said Southlands. Thursdays is new episodes of Kapapa, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition actual play. And then Fridays is the comic book rundown with Joe Gennaro and Ron Haynes, where they take comics from every property imaginable, Image, indie stuff, Marvel, DC, everything, and go into it in depth. Super great show, incredibly intelligent two people that have a very good chemistry as well. And we stream Monday through Friday on Twitch as well. Taylor does the hobby hangouts if you're interested in some hobbying. It's Monday nights at 6, and then I stream every other day of the week, Tuesday through Friday at 3 p.m. And I've somehow been able to start earlier here recently a whole ton too, playing a bunch of Baldur's Gate or Marvel Snap or anything else that's under the sun, World of Warcraft, or more battle reports, because we have a bunch of locals now playing both Shatterpoint and MCP, and we've been getting in some other games as well. We've been playing some Hero Quest. Yeah, Hero Quest is right. Marvel Champions might be showing up there soon, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. And in addition, leave a 5-star review for the show. You can do that on Google. Maybe you can't, but Apple Podcasts and Amazon and all that other stuff. It really, on Spotify, yes, those ratings actually help pretty considerably, and we really appreciate everything you do, guys. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time, and I'll probably see you tomorrow. Bye.
Love you. Bye.